What up, guys? What up? Thank you for joining. And today is August 16. We just had, what was it? Kind of a crazy week filled with data. We're gonna go over it, obviously. We had the Ghost Month officially start. We had the Sailor Eclipse pass us by. And it's honestly been a very interesting week because as well we had the one harmony token get exploited, like the whole network get exploited. So the bear market phase two is still ongoing, which I spoke to you guys about since like last year, that the bear market is divided into two phases. And this summer has really showed us, well, since April, since the drift exploit, it really showed us what a phase two looks like. We had situational awareness happen in July, and we had this week we had more updates on cold card hacks. Now Treasure got hacked, Ledger has got hacked. Now today officially, SafePal got hacked as well. So we've had four wallet companies get hacked and exploited. This is fucking insane. This all happened in the same week, by the way. So this is the power of the bear market and what we are supposed to be seeing. So yeah, SafePal, yes, SafePal was hacked today, and this is honestly, this is still gonna keep ongoing. And I know this is gonna sound funny to you guys, but from time to time I get like weird dreams about the market, and there was a few times where I got dreams about the market and it ended up happening. In particular, with my net worth, sometimes I saw dreams where my net worth has gone up to a certain number, and I shit you not, that has happened. Sometimes I've had dreams where if I don't exit the trade, my net worth is gonna drop to this number, and I shit you not, it has happened. This time, I got a dream that Sailor is going to continue selling, and I think he's going to announce, like in the dream I saw, he sold between like 100 to 200 million dollars worth of Bitcoin. So let's see if this happens. But yeah, that was a dream that I had last night. Not gonna lie to you guys, it was pretty intense, and I woke up remembering it, and I just had to put it out there so I don't forget. But yeah, I had a dream that Sailor is gonna sell some more BTC. Now, what are we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about the macro. Let's look over what happened last week. Let's look over what's gonna happen this week. And as well, we're gonna do some charting, BTC, ETH, Sol. Put in the comments if you guys want me to look at some alts in particular or whatnot. I'll look at it after BTC, ETH, Sol. Not much has changed over there yet, but we'll look over it. And yeah, that will be today's stream. Let's have a good one. So, in terms of macro, let's do a quick recap. So the CPI came in pretty good. Um, Headline inflation cooled down. The core inflation cooled down. That took as well pressure off the Fed to do a hike in September. The PPI came good, quote unquote, but it still went up. So we saw a big improvement in July for the PPI, but pretty much that improvement almost got wiped out when the data came out in August. Now, here's the interesting part about this PPI data that they didn't mention. And this is why a lot of people are getting more and more frustrated with this administration that's in place. They did the PPI data collection before oil really pumped. So a lot of like some of the inflation data showed improvement, but it was already slightly backward looking. They actually purposely removed the oil pump at the end of July from the PPI. So our PPI will look better than it actually is. And that I found to be very, very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but we've talked about it many times that they don't mind manipulating the data to continue the war and all that type of stuff and to justify what is happening. So they manipulated the PPI, but we have to work with what we have to work with, right? Now, retail sales as well, we saw the data come out. It actually dropped, and that was the first decline in 9 months. Even the core retail sales dropped. So again, this is signs that things are actually not looking great in terms of the consumer. Like it's not saying that the consumer is dead, is not buying, but they're saying that the consumer is taking their foot off the gas. No pun intended, since oil is pumping. But yeah, the consumer is not dead, but they're not buying as much as we are expecting them to buy. Again, when we look at like the Brent oil, it reached almost 88 at that time when the data came out. Now it's like around 86 um, at the moment, and it actually looks like it can make one last move up. Uh, that's the Brent oil. The other oil, WTI, we're looking at 81, $82 as well. Very similar chart. Could possibly make one more high that we saw in July. Like we actually rode this long pretty well to $92 or so. But the what do you call it over here could be a higher low. So we could see one final move up to like $100 or give or take, possibly a double top and then come back down. This is what I would like to see. But in the meantime, Um, we're basically sitting right underneath the $90, which I don't really like. The Strait of Hormuz is still disrupted, and let's be honest, the talks with Iran is really not going anywhere. It's like it's like two lesbians fighting over a parking spot. That's what we're seeing. Two fucking lesbians fighting over a parking spot because both of them can decide if they want to continue the war or if they're gonna reach a resolution. And this is probably not a good situation to be in. So as I said, I'm expecting the war uh, situation to end at the end of this year. This is my expectation. I'm still not sure if the Israeli election is still happening end of October, but if it does happen, I'm predicting that they're gonna vote Netanyahu out and his team, and if they do, that's gonna be a good sign that the war is going to slow down as well. It's not looking good right now for Trump in the midterms. You got a lot of people, like for example, what's happening in Michigan. I remember I'm trying to keep this as unbiased as possible, but we saw they elected, like the Democrats elected someone to represent them for the state of Michigan. He did it with the fraction of the cost that his competitor received in terms of funding. So the people right now, when it comes to elections, it's not about how much money you have backing you. That doesn't help anymore. We're seeing a trend where the Democrats that are winning are not backed by APAC, and Americans right now are feeling like the true Americans are feeling kind of foolish because they don't want to be in this war. They want to improve their healthcare. They want to improve their education. They want to improve their living standards. And I actually agree with that. This is something that's great that they need, and I think every country needs. So now they're voting for candidates that are more gonna be pushing towards that direction instead of voting for candidates that even received funding or backing or donations from APAC because they don't want to see this war happening. So we're starting to see that trend. Now, if, as I said, if the Republicans lose the House, this is a good sign for us that are traders because we will have less news fucking us. We will have less bullshit fucking us. We won't have to wake up one day and Trump announces a 200% tariff and the whole market crashes, right? Like that all that stuff, unexpected news and bullshit is going to stop. So for us in trading aspect, yeah, we may want that to happen where there's going to be a little bit of a tug of war in the White House for the sake of the market, right? So we're we're trying to what is my audio coming through? By the way, I know someone's like talking. No, my audio is coming through. I can see it. Okay. But yeah, going back here to the macro. So again, the midterms is what is going to be important. Where I think we're going to see the final drawdown just after the midterms, and then we can be comfortable to deploy more spot and dollar cost average. I'm going to start possibly in October and onwards and going from there, right? So that's as well. We saw equity still hold up. Um, we saw equity still hold up when it comes to AI. That we saw what the S&P hit another record. 85% of companies reported that they beat earnings expectations. But at the same time, these AI expectations are getting very fucking high. Very fucking high. The other thing, Nvidia is helping raise more than 500 billion of outside capital to finance their AI infrastructure. So AI is like slowly becoming a credit cycle as much of a technology cycle. If rates stay high, financing all this infrastructure becomes more expensive. And we'll talk about rates in a second. So despite all the data that came out, it's showing so far that rates are going to be not changed, right? There's no rate hike and there's no what do you call it, rate cut. So we're pretty much going to be standing still in the same position. But this week I can certainly give you guys a better answer on like where I am positioned, whether it's a rate hike or rate cut or a rate halt on Wednesday once I read the FOMC minutes, because and the last Fed vote, it was 9-3, where three members wanted a hike. The minutes will show us how close the rest of the Fed actually is to joining them, right? So this is gonna be Wednesday after I read the minutes and whatnot. I can definitely tell you guys where my position is in terms of the CME and whatnot. Well, rate situation. If we're gonna do a rate cut, rate hike. Well, rate cut is not in the book, so it's either a rate halt or a rate hike. And right now, based on the data that I've seen so far, I'm leaning more towards no rate changes. So let's wait and see Wednesday, sorry, in the evening, where I'll give you my final answer of where I stand with this. The other thing that's coming up this week, um, which is going to be important because this is probably going to be more useful than another like retail sales data report or consumer survey. So this week, in terms of retail earnings, we're gonna have Walmart, Home Depot, Target, Lowe's, and John Deere all reporting their earnings this week. And these companies can see what people are actually buying and what they stopped buying. And they will tell you, their earnings will tell you if the consumer is spending or not spending and how their sales are doing. But most importantly, you really want to watch their margins more than just their revenue. So if oil is higher, if tariffs, well, tariffs now are, they're gonna receive refunds and they've already deployed those refunds. So those tariffs are officially not really illegal, but like they have been wiped out. But the consumer still got fucked. So the companies that paid the tariffs got their refunds, but let's say you went to the store and you had to pay more because of the tariffs, you're not getting a refund. You paid what you paid for, it's done, it's over. You're not getting a refund on the extra cost, only the company. So that actually improved their financial situation. So if oil, again, going back, we need to watch margins more than the revenue. So if oil is higher, the tariffs are higher, the financing costs are higher, and if companies can't pass those costs on to the consumers, their margins are going to get squeezed. So we want to pay attention to that. Now, there is a sleeper macro risk happening, um, that is not, people are not really bringing it up. So we're having a food inflation because of this war, and it might actually become an issue if it's not addressed. So right now they're reporting, well, there's one, the first risk is called El Nino, which is like a natural climate pattern that involves the warming of the sea and whatnot. So they're saying there's going to be climate issues this coming year, which is going to impact how they grow food and whatnot. On top of that, there is a fertilizer shortage because of this war and shipments and whatnot, and there's a higher energy cost and problems with grain shipments all happening at the same time. So oil and energy might not be the next inflation problem. We actually could see an inflation problem with food, right? Because of this war and the tariffs and fertilizer shortage and all that stuff coming together is just one bad fucking orgy, right? This is not what you want. And already people are having issues. The consumers are having issues buying food, paying rent, buying clothes, paying bills, all that type of stuff. The last thing people actually need is worrying if they can afford their next meal. But this is this is the true reality of what is actually happening, and people are not really seeing it. I know, let's see, as traders and investors and all that stuff, we're not many of us are exposed to these type of issues because most of us live like kind of like a frugal lifestyle, or we've made it and we can afford these type of things and really don't think about price and whatnot. But the average person, which is the majority of the world, 95%, is going to like reconsider if they need to buy beef or not. And honestly, I was looking at Costco's data not too long ago. They they are showing that they are selling a lot less beef now because beef is expensive, but they're selling way more chicken and turkey, and they're actually selling way more canned food. Imagine that. Costco is selling way more canned chicken, and these are actual signs of recession. Now, in terms of like housing situation, America has reached its lowest activity in housing in history. This activity that's so fucking shit has never been reached before, right? So we're not exactly doing great in those type of like when the person's just trying to live, we're not doing great. This is a true situation. So this is all came down because of 2 years. Believe it or not, it's going to be 2 years. 2 years of straight bullshit, tariffs and war, and this is the result of it. So this stuff actually needs to stop at the end of this year for for the average person to have a chance. And as I said, I truly believe at the end of this year this stuff is going to die down and we're gonna have to move on to something better. All right. So in terms of crypto, again, inflows started weakening again. Let me pull it out here for you guys. The inflows were all right. Um, but again, as you guys see, the trend did not continue. We saw outflows again. All right. And it didn't, like, Bitcoin didn't really capitalize on the inflation data the way equities did. Keep in mind, equities pumped because the inflation data kind of told them indirectly there's less likely of a rate hike happening. So their financing cost is not going to go up. And we're taking bad news as good news at this point, right? Now, we had, what do you call it? The Clarity Act stalled and they pushed it into September. All right. Um, the good thing is KPMG officially did this first full independent audit of Tether's financial statements, and we're waiting for that to be published, which is very important. So I've been here since like what 2017. This has been a fucking topic for 9 fucking years, guys. And there was a group of people that, believe it or not, were so bearish on Tether bringing the whole market down that they missed out on 9 years worth of gains just to continuously fud Tether and the crypto industry. And the fact that this audit finally happened, and if it gets published and is fully fucking good, bro, this is the best thing we need. Like, in terms of, actual infrastructure. This is what we need. Right? Now, we saw another company, well, World Liberty, which is Trump's, received a conditional approval for the National Trust Bank Charter. Now, this approval was given as well to two other companies before, which was Circle and Ripple. So, keep an eye on Ripple because, as I said, for like since May, the real infrastructure that's being built is around stable coins, and we're seeing more crypto companies become banks while banks are slowly becoming crypto companies. And I've been saying since like this merge is slowly going to transition where we're going to have stablecoin infrastructure is going to explode. We're going to be we're actually transitioning into a world where we're going to be using more stable coins. I know for you guys this sounds strange, but believe it or not, China has been doing this for a very, very long time. Instead of stable coins, they just digitalized their currency and they added it to like apps like WeChat. So in China, if you use WeChat, WeChat is like their WhatsApp, and that platform is what do you call it? It's not just a messaging platform, but it's your bank, it's your ID, it's everything. Like you can go anywhere across China and pay with your WeChat, right? And we're slowly seeing that happen. Well, it's going to happen the same thing in America, North America, and Europe, and other across the world, other places in the world, but they're going to use stable coins as the currency, right? Which makes sense to me. So this coming week in terms of crypto, we don't really have anything specific to look out for. Just watch the ETF flows. If the inflows come back, BTC has a reason to move. But as well, we're just starting Ghost Month, so we have to be kind of cautious, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Watch oil, watch the bond yields. The good CPI and PPI gave us some breathing room. Now we need to watch what the yields and oil does, especially if they come down. But again, the bigger crypto story that we're seeing for since May is financial rails for custody, banking licenses being established, tokenized assets being official, payment rails being built. Like, look at Plasma. I know some people use Plasma, that card. Forget the token, but their product is actually pretty decent from what I've read and I've seen people use. So we're seeing all this infrastructure get built right in front of us, right? So we are seeing the narratives for the next bull cycle in front of our eyes right now. So it's really up to you to capitalize on it or not. So just to close it all out, we last week gave us better inflation data but weaker consumer data. Equities still being held up by AI earnings, but oil is already moving higher, so it's like a double-edged sword. So because of that, we got a little bit of a relief, but we're not fully out in the clear. So this week I'm gonna be watching the Fed minutes, and that'll tell me where we're gonna go with the rate hike or rate halt. I'm gonna watch those retail earnings for consumer data. I'm gonna pay attention to oil and bond yields, and again, crypto. I'm keeping it simple. I'm watching the ETF flows, and I'm gonna watch how BTC is gonna react to the macro information that we're gonna see this coming week. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say in terms of macro. All right, now let's go over some charts. All right. I'm going to look at BTC first. Okay. So, this 64K mark, the first time first when we had the breakdown, I'm going to show you guys something. We had this breakdown here. This 67K was the support. We came back, tapped it as resistance. Okay. Afterwards, we thought we printed a higher low, came back up, swept the liquidity here, and the 64K was our point of breakdown, and we swept the lows. After that, we kept having resistance at 64K until we rejected and actually broke through, rejected 67K again. Now 67K was previously support that turned resistance. Now we're doing the same thing again, where we are struggling to break above 64K and we're chopping around here and we kind of had this weird trend line happening. So what do I think will happen? Now, if we reach 64K is the 4-hour level that I'm paying attention to. So it's 4-hour close above 64K will probably send us to break this trend line and back over here to 67K. Now, the question you need to ask yourself, this is established resistance, this is established support. Okay, I know it's getting messy, but stay with me. If we break the 64, high likely we will see 67K. All right, now if we see this is more than likely a good short entry, unless we get the 12-hour to close above it. All right, but this could be a very nice short entry. We keep tapping resistance, and eventually one side gets weaker. It's either the resistance or the support. Now, with my long at the moment, if we close below the monthly open on the 4-hour, that's my signal to get the fuck out. Now, let me remove all these drawings because it got messy. Okay. These lows are still holding. So this is the monthly, not the monthly, but let me just, this is the what we are looking at for the month of August. So roughly 62.5K, I believe, is just the monthly open, give or take, right? Not really concerned about it, but it's around there. Now, if we get a 4-hour close below it, I'm getting the fuck out. It's very simple. But at the same time, that is right now August support level, while this is the resistance level for August. And this is the main resistance point over there. So you gotta keep it simple. Right now we're entering ghost month, and usually in ghost month, as we do a little grind up, we may grind to 65.5. That's why I said the first set of profits is going to be here, but ultimately I'm looking for here for BTC. Okay, if we get there, we may do a little bit of a chop, but I think it's going to be straight down, return to the base. Okay, now sometimes ghost month will do all of this chop and just even return here, pretty much not changing anything. Since we started here, we may just come back here, and then we continue a little bit here, then we do the final move down right after ghost month. Now I think if we revisit the 60K or 59, 58, 60K mark again, that will be the final showdown to much lower, where we break the 50K mark, right? That's what I think will happen if we get there. I'm still, if we, again, as I said, if we get above that resistance point on the 12-hour, that's my sign that, hey, we're going to the 70K mark, give or take. If we actually get this close above 67 on the 12-hour, I will adjust my short entry to above 70K, and I'll continue riding my long that I have, right? So I do have the long open. This is ultimately how I plan on playing it, but ultimately I don't think we are entering an accumulation period. This does not look like accumulation to me, right? Again, very simple structure. This was the low, high, lower high, lower high, and we keep printing lower lows. So for us to come here, let's say 70K, we will still print a lower high and then bring us down for the lower low. All right. This does not look like a bottom, especially with what's going on a much bigger time frame. This does not look like a bottom, but we are seeing signs that the momentum is starting to die down. But again, I'm still not on the boat that this is a bottom. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, you need to pay attention to this. Let me pull it out. Where the fuck is it? You know what? We are reaching very high. Where was it? Velo? Let me pull it out for you guys. Give me a second. Dude, where is it? Okay. Okay, here we go. Do you guys, this was 1010. This is the open interest. We have more open interest right now than 1010, than before 1010 on BTC. Our open interest is higher before the big wipeout. Okay. You see here, volume. It's actually insane that our open interest is like that. Okay, so the spot volume, I don't know, like it doesn't match with what we see. It's not great. It's simply not great. The volume is the spot is not backing the open interest the way that we want to see in a bullish environment. So this is like pretty much over leveraged longs right now. And when I go over here, I want to show you guys the funding rate. BTC is still strong funding. But yeah, overall, our open interest is way too high. So this is why you need to be a little bit cautious with your longs. This is why I have a very, very strict, simple plan for this trade. You don't want to fuck it up. Now, going back, let me mark the levels. Okay, it was 64K. This is the 64K is where I want to see us break. We had this, all these moves. As soon as we break 64K. 60 top of the range. 67K is where I'll put the 12 hour. Okay. 60K, give or take, is where I put the daily. It's very simple structure. Very, very simple. But yeah, the open interest is just way too high. Way too high. All right. And this is not actually a good sign that the fact that we are 50% lower than the all time high with an open interest higher. You get what I mean? This is not great. Not great at all. All right. So a lot of things, a lot of levels, sorry, did not change from the last 2 weeks, and we still have what do you call it? The 3 day at 72K, give or take. Okay, a little bit, but yeah, overall, this does not feel like a bottom because even as I said on the 3 day, we still got this going on, this trend, right? Don't ignore the trend line. It's more about showing you that we're not printing higher highs. All right, that's the whole point. We're not printing higher highs, and we're still printing lower lows. So until we get an official higher time frame, higher low, I will feel more comfortable. But I still, again, I'm still on the boat that we get one final liquidation event. Okay. So for BTC, this is how I'm playing it. I'm keeping it simple. Again, what worries me is the fact that we don't even have the 4 hour trend. Now look at this pump. We lost the 200s, the 300s, the 50s, and whatnot, and we pumped to the 34 EMA and rejected it. You guys remember my idea of the 1321-34 EMA? When the faster EMA starts crossing down onto the slower ones, again, this should not be happening. And we didn't even pump the 300 or the 50, and we're seeing some death crosses already happen. Where again, we pumped to the 34 and rejected it. So be safe out there. Don't over leverage. You don't want to. You want to save bullets for what's about to come, because put it this way, you have saved your ass up to this point. You survived the last 2 years of bullshit. Don't ruin it on the last leg down where your ass gets bent over, when you could have just survived this final leg down and then start deploying the capital that you have and making it. Okay, because a lot of people will look at like, oh, this is a good time to DCA. Yeah, maybe if you have a very long-term horizon, all that type of stuff, this could look like a joke of an entry in a few years time, and you'd be like, oh wow, what a great entry. But again, everyone has different perspective and ways on how they want to deploy. Some people are comfortable eating 30-40% drawdowns. Some people cannot stomach that, right? So yeah, don't, but the main thing is don't get liquidated. Don't get fucked on the final leg down where easy mode enters and you don't have any more capital to deploy, right? You always want to make sure you have bullets. You are in a war. You are a soldier. You are a general. You are everything. You want to make sure you have bullets to shoot. All right. So it's very simple. Again, we don't have a trend. Look, we've seen this before. We don't have a 4 hour trend, bullish trend. We don't have a 12-hour trend. We lost it. We don't have a daily trend either. We lost it. We don't have a 3 day trend either. We lost it. We are losing potentially the 200 MA again. So again, we could see the leg down to the 300 MA starting this coming week. Look how the faster EMAs and MAs are now moving on the weekly. All of that shit is happening right in front of our eyes. So the long side is not fully safe, as I said. So this gives me a better idea that if we do break to the 67, it is more than likely going to be a pretty decent short. Again, keep an eye on the 12 hour. Okay. And again, for the 12 hour, see this resistance point, top of the range, and matches with the 200 EMAs. All right. And there's one thing, I know a lot of you may not notice this, but there's one thing that I see every bear market is that every bear market, there's a certain CT profile that gets very popular during the bear market because in 2022 he was posting, and late 2021 he was posting a lot of taking profit, how cycles move. It wasn't necessarily bullish or bearish stuff, but it was more talking about like how people should approach trading. And during bull markets, people ignore him, call him a retard, blah blah blah. During bear markets, when they lose it all, they call him a genius and everything. And I shit you not, I feel like I'm sitting in a simulation because now it's happening all over again, and people are like pulling out his old tweets from like 2021, 2022, and be like, man, this guy, I should have listened to him. I should have done this. I should have done that. He's right, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I've always said this. The formula to financial freedom is in two phases. The green button gets you the appreciation. The red button confirms your freedom. So, a lot of us did not press that red button enough. So you want to be pressing that red button when you get the opportunity next cycle. Okay. My advice as well for next cycle, the worst thing you can do is compare your gains to someone else's gains, that it makes you hold on to your bag longer than you need to, and then you end up round tripping your unrealized P&L, right? So don't compare yourself to what someone else has or what someone else has achieved. Just focus on your own journey, your own profit, your own P&L and everything. If you made 10K off one trade and someone else made 100K, don't feel down. Your situation, their situation are completely different. All right? Who's I'm not telling you, bro. You need to be more locked in. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Um okay. Let's look at ETH. So ETH, pretty much the same scenario. The 12-hour support did not change. We're still there, but it feels like it's pretty choppy over here. Like nothing's really changing. But ETH is holding on better than BTC is for the time being. Um, Again, the 3-day level did not change. The 12-hour level did not change. The daily level did not change. We pretty much didn't really do anything. We, even then, the 4-hour level, we still need to really clear it. I would say 1927, get above the wick, close above the wick over here, and we can finally build a move to 2K. But otherwise, as we haven't done much with ETH like this whole week. Like when you look at it, okay, we started Monday off with the dump, but this is the whole ETH week right here. This, we haven't done shit. So none of the levels really changed from the previous stream. We're still at the same spot. So for ETH, if you want to go long here. I don't know. It's either you long um, after it's confirmed the 4 hour close and it pulls back and you long the pullback, or you long the 12-hour support test. But yeah, otherwise, you could be looking at shorting if we close below the 12-hour, and we can take the move down to the daily. If the daily closes below the support level that I'm looking at, then we could be looking at revisiting the 1500 mark again. Let's look at the trend. See, sorry, the 4 hour still has a trend. That's what I mean. The 4 hour still has somewhat of a trend. It is choppy. It looks choppy. Not gonna lie. Doesn't look great. It looks choppy. All right. But it's definitely better than BTC. Same thing with the 12 hour. It looks very choppy. It's not giving great signs, bullish signs, but it's still above the trend. But the faster EMAs and MAs are crossing above and starting to turn bearish. Same with the 12 hour. I mean, we are like, look at this 4 hour. It's it's right there above the 200 MA, 50 MA. Everything is crossed bearish on the faster one, so it's really, but we're still above the 200 EMA and the 300 MA, so it's really in a chop zone. So if it reclaims the trend, that'd be great. But that really depends on BTC. Really depends on what BTC is going to do here. Okay, I'm really surprised to see this, but again, this retest might not be bearish. Let's see what happens here. All right, let's look at Sol. Sol is not looking great. Let me see. Okay, again, nothing really changed with Sol. This was the same shit. It's looking very bearish on the 4 hour chart. Like the EMA MA look like it's crossing and doing a bunch of bullshit that is not bullish. Um, it's not looking like a long entry is there, but the levels did not change much again because we didn't really see much price action. Starting on Monday, we pulled back to the 4 hour support, long to the 12 hour resistance, didn't close above, back to the 4 hour support, and now we're in a chop range. So the levels are pretty much the same on. So when it comes to the daily, 4 hour, 12 hour, we didn't really change much. The volume is dying down, as you guys can see. We're not really doing anything, and typically we tend to see this type of movement before a big breakdown. Now we do have the signs in front of us that a big breakdown is going to happen because of ghost month, because of the data, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, you really want to be cautious. Right now I broke out of this trend line. Let's see what happens here. If it retests the daily support, you may want to long it and may go back to like the 4 hour resistance level that we have here. So if we come back to here, we may get a nice long to over here. You can start TPing at 75. But overall, at the moment, the support levels are holding and the resistance levels are resisting, but it's in a very tight range that I don't like. It's in a $2 range, which again, I don't like these type of ranges. It doesn't leave much to work with. So yeah, for me, in terms of Sol, I'm gonna be patient. I'm not gonna rush into positions immediately. But these levels did not change at all because again, we didn't really have a week of big movement, and we were kind of expecting that because of the data, and everyone was just worried about the data. And then we found out they manipulated the data, which I'm not surprised about. As I mentioned, guys, with the PPI, what they did, they left out the last portion of the oil pump out of the PPI report, right? So imagine that. Yeah. So let's do a quick recap. Our open interest is above 1010. The market is chopping sideways. The perps are leading. Look, and I talked about this many fucking times. ETH perps are leading spot. PTC perps are leading spot. You don't want to see this. People are over leveraged long, right? So don't be surprised if we get a breakdown. We are kind of building that recipe at the moment. The only thing that's not leading perps is Solana. Spot is still leading Solana. I'm assuming that is happening for Solana, where the spot is leading because of meme coins. Now, we're seeing now, like again, I finished charting BTC and ETH and Solana. All right, let me go back to the BTC chart. The narratives for the next coming cycle are being built right now. I talked about this, right? The only thing that people are really, really interested in seems to be cat coins. Again, I expected that, but as I said, guys, when I thought about cat coins, I looked at it as where are we heading in this segment. So the meme coin segment, or I like to call it the quote unquote hyper gambling segment, right? In 2021, it was like NFTs, right? And then last cycle we shifted onto meme coins. Now, for this coming cycle, I think, as I said, we are more trying to integrate social metrics and finance into together, right? So it is your job to find a gap in this area. And that's how you'll do well when it comes to buying meme coins. It's like what isn't matching financially, even though the metrics there are very strong, right? And right now we're trying to transition into a more betting on content creators and streamers and all that stuff. And for the most part, it's not working. People are getting get wrecked. But the only one, obviously, that's working well is Ansem, and we're actually seeing that narrative. So the mistake that I did last cycle, that I will teach you guys that you don't repeat this mistake, because it did cost me a lot of money. I took my 2021 mistakes and I applied it to the 2023 to 2025 cycle, right? Because of me not taking enough profit in 2021, I was determined to think that whatever it is that's going to pop out is going to be short lived and a scam, and it's better to bet on real utility, right? Now, that was the opposite of what happened, right? I shouldn't have done that because I took my 2021 mistakes with me. Every cycle is going to be different. Let me tell you that. Every cycle is going to be different. You cannot really predict on what is going to really take off, but you need to have an open mind, right? Like for example, Mug ran to 2 billion market cap, give or take. But I shit you not, I was buying Mug at like 2 million market cap and I sold it at like 10 million. And I have countless stories of that scenario, right? I had the opportunity to buy Unibot at below 100k market cap and it ran to like 250 million market cap, give or take, right? All these opportunities will show up in 2027 and are starting to show up now. It is up to you to take advantage of them or not, but you need to allocate in a smart way, right? The best thing I can tell you is don't try to outsmart the market. Buy and hold your thesis is much better, and you need to kind of like ignore. I hate to say this, but anyone with an Axiom pump fund badge is going to fucking rape you, bro. Um I'm not even joking. So it has been proven time and time again, most of these people do not have the best intentions to actually hold out a coin to hundreds of millions of market cap. But yeah, don't I made that mistake myself and I learned from it, but it seems like they are more going to rape you. Honestly, they bundled it like they some guy got exposed. He bundled a fucking shitcoin across over 100 wallets, and he just kept dumping on his side wallets while his pump fund wallet was showing that he was holding, right? So keep in mind who you're going to listen to, but at the same time, try to develop your own thesis. But the meme coin market is not going to go away. In fact, it's probably going to continue pumping, and it's going to be, but it's going to be different, right, than what you saw last year. And you need to have an open mind with that. You don't carry the mistakes of the last cycle onto this cycle because that's how you could actually lose out on making money. Okay, so that's my advice to you guys. So again, when it came to cat coins, I'm betting on that one. The majority of memes is cats. Like literally, you go all over the internet, it's people just posting cat memes everywhere. It's the number one animal meme in the world. You go on any Telegram group, they're just posting cat stickers for the most part, or some form of cat stickers. You see it everywhere. And you see on Reddit, for example, the social metrics show that on some platforms, cats are popping up 400% more than dogs. There's a difference. So I am bet again, we're entering a social media creator type of market, and the number one meme, animal meme that's being created across the internet are cats. And there's a huge market cap difference between the dogs and the cats, where dogs are sitting at roughly 15 billion market cap, while cats are sitting at like 400, 500 million market cap. When social metrics are showing that cats are 400% higher than dogs. So this is how you find gaps in this type of market, and you want to bet on it, and that's why I'm betting on it. Very simple. I'm betting on the internet. I'm betting on internet culture. I'm betting on meme culture. That's what it is. And same thing with the perp dex meta. I explained it to you guys earlier. When it comes to the perp dex meta, that is not going away. Perpdex is slowly taking over centralized exchanges. We're even seeing centralized exchanges building their own perpdexes, and there are two ways to get exposed to it. You can buy hype, you can buy lighter. Like look at Lit, for example. They just announced another point program, by the way, with Robinhood. And this points program is going to be I think $25 billion worth of rewards that are going to be airdropped. Aster is probably going to take off at some point because Binance is just not going to sit there. Like, I mean, this is pretty disgusting. But at some point, it's going to look so fucking obvious that you should have bought some Aster, I guess. They're just going to crime this up at some point. Um, so that's one way of actually gaining exposure to it. Is you can buy the tokens, you can buy hype, you can buy lit, you can buy Aster, or you can farm. You can farm RiseX, you can farm N1, you can farm TX Flow, you can farm Nado, you can farm Variational. I mean, every single airdrop I presented to you guys, and there was a lot of exchanges that I did not present to you guys. By the way, like I didn't go into extended, I didn't go to Austrian or whatever it's called. I didn't go to any of those exchanges because I do my research. Right? I try to do my research and find the best ones. So variational, I got a notification that the points have reached $30 to $40 a point. That's insane. That's literally insane. Some of you guys, if no, and now if this is true, some of you guys have like 500 points. So you're gonna walk out with an airdrop of over $10,000 if that's the case. The other thing is, if you guys started variational early with very tiny volume, you would have easily got 300 to 500 points because no one was using it. Again, Nado reached, I believe, $5 a point. Very easy. The first, like, put it this way, the first week of Nado farming I did earned me over $5,000. Just the first week. When you see an opportunity, you need to fucking strike. All right? You need to fucking strike. So we're entering a perp dex meta. And exchange tokens, I repeat, exchange tokens are bullish. Guys, do not fucking fade exchange tokens, right? It is the easiest bet you can make. Last cycle, Hype did amazing. BNB did amazing. Fucking, and then you had the random small centralized exchanges pop 20, 40 X's like BitGet. I didn't expect BitGet to do a 20X, but BitGet did a 20X on their exchange token. That's the point. And the previous cycle to that was again BNB and FTX token, the FTT token. I think FTT, like, look at it, um, before all this shit. All right, when it first, like, look, it reached $82, and Binance listed it at like $2. And by the way, at on FTX, it was literally like 50 cents to a dollar for a good period of time, and it ran to 83 fucking bucks, guys. This is what exchange tokens do, right? They exchange tokens have to pump their token up. This is the best marketing for them, and this is what they're going to do. So you want exposure to that, right? So the way to gain exposure to this narrative that's literally gonna go away after the cycle. This narrative is gonna go away. It's not gonna be easy to farm airdrops after this cycle. And you can gain exposure by farming or buying the tokens. I'm doing both. I'm farming RiseX. I stopped farming variational because I got the enough points that I from my farming. So right now I'm farming RiseX, I'm farming N1, I'm farming Nado. You saw how I was talking about N1 almost 2 months ago. Okay, shout out to Pookie for bringing N1 to my attention, because I didn't know about N1 before Pookie. He had the affiliate badge on his social media. So when I saw it, I talked to him about it. He told me some good things about the team and whatnot. Um, then after that, I did my own research. I went down the rabbit hole, found out about them. Funny story, you guys know Alameda. Alameda is really good at investing. Alameda had investments in N1, but then all that shit happened. They gave the money back and they went their own way. They did another round to backfill the raise that they did with Alameda. And then after that, they got a solid team together. They got the guy from ICP to build their network. And pretty much N1 is a layer one, just like Hyperliquid, a layer one building its own perp exchange, right? Now, I was talking about it for 2 months. They are going to release 75 million points. Okay? I was just dabbing here and there, few trades here and there, blah blah blah, here and there. I didn't even do 500,000 in volume, right? So now they did 75 million points. I got over 100,000 points for that, for testing them out, for dabbling in it here and there, here and there, here and there, blah blah blah. I got over 100,000 points for dabbing in it. Now, They're gonna bring the RFQ like variational. They're increasing their listings. They're improving their liquidity. They're improving the chain. They're improving the app. Da, 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 da. I always said to you guys, if you want to strike on this meta, you need to get in when the app and the exchange and the liquidity and all of that is fucking shit. When nobody wants to touch it. That is the easiest path, the easiest points you'll ever get. Now, my goal for N1, I want 750k minimum points. So at least 1% of the points will come to me. All right? That's my goal. I want 1% of the points. So I get 1% of the airdrop supply. All right? I want 750k to a million points. That's what I want. Okay? And I'm going to do that. So you need to prepare yourself for this meta. Now, we got TX Flow. I told you guys about TX Flow. TX Flow is BloFin's perp dex. Now, TX Flow is going as well the hyperliquid path. No VC funding, zero VC funding, just like Nado. Nado has zero VC funding. Hyperliquid has zero VC funding. Fully self-funded. TX Flow is fully self-funded. Their app is fucking amazing. In fact, TX Flow has the best app out of everyone. Better than Hyperliquid, better than RiseX, better than N1, better than Nado, better than Variational. This is the best app I have seen to date. This is the truth. Okay? They're going to launch their own chain. They're going to do their own airdrop. That's confirmed. Points did not start yet. We are fucking early. Now, I'm blessed to be in a position where the one that's leading the charge for TX Flow works for BloFin, and I was early to BloFin, and they asked for my feedback. So pretty much they're going to improve the liquidity, and they're going to do way more crypto listings and not just fall into the RWA path like every other exchange. So I told them that they need to build a crypto universe on TX Flow that's competitive to Binance, Bybit, and Aster while having Hyperliquid's TradFi listings. So I'm trying to get TX Flow to have the full crypto universe with the RWA assets that we like to trade so it can be all in one beautiful app. So for me, this is what my next task is. I'm gonna be farming. I'm still farming RiseX. I'm still farming N1. I'm still farming Nado. I'm gonna farm TX Flow, and those are my main focuses. And frankly, you actually don't need a lot of money in there to farm it all. It's very easy. I do it. I see a trade. I mark it in. I get out. I mark it out. It's very, very, very easy. It's actually no excuse for anyone missing out on these airdrops unless you don't like money. Like imagine you log in every day into this industry and you see these opportunities and you're like, nah, fuck this shit. Why? But anyways, everyone has their own reasons. Um, Again, let's go back to Zcash. Let's see what happened here. We drew all of this. Again, rejected the resistance. Let's see here if we can print a higher high or we tap and do a double top and get the fuck out, right? But yeah, Zcash is not looking amazing, but it's not looking yet. It's shit. It's not there yet. It's in a no trade zone. While XMR is actually pumping, which is kind of scary because the last time XMR pumped, we got a market-wide dump. Again, nail in the coffin, guys. Nail in the coffin. Can you cover which? Okay, SNDK. I mean, it's in a very strong trend. This was a really nice buy over here at 1,000. Can't believe that actually happened end of July. Okay, so we're for SNDK. If we can get above 1,700-ish, reclaim the trend, we could go for back to the 2000s, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I think for SNDK, if we get one more leg up, that'll be like the final leg up. Okay. Um, as you guys know, this is pretty crazy. This is actually fucking insane. Going from last summer $50 to 2,300, this is insane. Um, but yeah, for SNDK, every pullback that it's happening is more shallow. So this was like around the 34.50 EMAs. But now over here we got to the 50s double time, and now we came down to the 200. So I think if we get one more leg, there's an opportunity for one more leg up, and I think that will be kind of the final leg, and then a decent pullback to long into. But yeah, overall, this is very strong. I would not be looking to really short it. You should be more looking at when can you long this. So for the time being, every pullback on SNDK is pretty much a long, in my opinion. MU, yeah, very, very similar chart. Very similar chart. This as well looks very beautiful trend. This is a sexy ass trend. Um, See, the one thing that I hope um, crypto does better is that it starts listing these assets faster. So usually what I realized, we list RWAs once it's confirmed it's going on a giga run, and you kind of like have to long it mid trend, right? So SpaceX, but we are improving. Like we listed SpaceX immediately, even pre-IPO actually. So we're getting better. Um, AMD, beautiful. These are all beautiful charts, bro. That right now it's hard to be bearish on them. Like AMD looks like it's going to break out, like it's on the weekly. Yeah, it's holding very nice. May look like it's gonna have new all-time high. Yeah, yeah, the rotation was indeed clear to go from crypto to AI tech. I just can't wait till the merge happens between the two. That's gonna catch people off guard. What else? You wanted Meta. So far what you have shown me, SNDK, MU, AMD, beautiful charts. Beautiful, beautiful charts. Now Meta does not really match those the same way. Like look at the daily. Meta feels like there's a chance for it. Uh, we could see sub 500, but Yeah, out of the ones that you picked, Meta's not exactly the best one. Apple looks clean. More cleaner than, but again, what you showed me, SNDK, MU, AMD, I would pick them over Apple and Meta as longs. But again, Apple is like one of those companies where it's like regardless, it'll just keep going up. Um, I know, yeah, with Apple, I'm not sure like how we would react. I need to check. Give me a second. So with Apple, you need to, yeah, I, by the way, Sakuna, I always said Google. Like since last year, I made a whole post on last summer. Google is the pick for me out of the tech companies. But yeah, Apple next month is going to release the new iPhone and yada yada and so forth. So it may have a nice pump from there. But Google, by the way, has been is my pick. Like I'm like fuck. I spoke. This was when I spoke about it. I did not expect to for Google to fucking double. But yeah, if we get a Google pullback, fuck it. 200s, take it. It's close to the what do you call it, 200 daily. A little breakdown here. Sweep of this low, sub 300. Take it. Yeah, yeah. Google, man. I think Google is going to be the most valuable company in the world for a very long time. Um, because they're gonna be building their own chips. They're, you know, they're getting high off their own supply. They're not gonna be dependent on Nvidia or AMD or anyone, right? So they're approaching this AI tech or AI boom the right way, and they're keeping it all in house. And it may take longer because they don't have the partnerships and whatnot, but in the long run, they are better off, in my opinion, because they like think about it for a second. For a good period of time, Apple was fully in house, and that was actually the last time when it was fully in house. That was actually the last time we had very good fucking iPhones, right? That didn't have battery issues with every new model release or whatever, right? So when you keep everything in house, and now Apple is actually going back to that with their M chips and whatnot. Um, again, when you keep everything in house, the quality of your product is going to be better and will last longer. Are you going to trade Anthropic IPO? Yes. Not at the start. In fact, I may if Anthropic does an IPO this October, I do plan on buying it spot. And just like, and again, I'll be playing it like SpaceX. I would wait for the drawdown after the IPO listing price, 30-40% below the IPO launch price, whatever, and I'll buy it spot because Anthropic is a no-brainer. It is, in fact, like when you go, from what I hear, maybe you guys can correct me, but from what I hear, a lot of the enterprises and whatnot use Claude more than OpenAI. So they like Amazon and whatnot, they use Claude coding and all that stuff more than OpenAI. Claude has a better image than OpenAI does. Like OpenAI still has that stigma of they were supposed to be a non-profit, they shifted, then blah blah blah, they screwed people over, they killed one of their employees who was a whistleblower. There was a whole documentary about it. I feel like even Elon Musk calls them satanic. Elon Musk does not even trust OpenAI, does not trust Google, but Google is his main competition. Um, so yeah, I'm more on Team Anthropic than OpenAI. Doesn't mean I won't bet on OpenAI, but I think Anthropic, and again, keep in mind, even the US government was using Claude, was using Anthropic, and they chose them over OpenAI because they know their tech is better. And they only replaced them with OpenAI because Anthropic refused to give them the open model for their tech because of risk reasons, right? Like for example, they know once they like Anthropic and OpenAI both released their models in a closed environment and it went on a hacking spree and you know and stole data and exploits and blah blah blah. Now imagine you give that same tech to a bunch of baboons, like literally a bunch of baboons, bro, who don't know shit about this tech, and and like nuke Iran, make sure they're wiped out, make no mistakes, type of shit. Like, bro, you cannot be doing that. They did the right thing, right? And they replaced them with OpenAI, but everyone knows the guardrails that they put on Anthropic kind of like was a nerf because they are too powerful, right? So for me, I'm more bullish on Anthropic than OpenAI. They just have a better image of what it is. Um, and honestly, um, like what I noticed is the OpenAI people that like there are people like look, there are people on both sides on the spectrum where there are Claude maxis and you have the OpenAI maxis. I just can't deal with the OpenAI maxis. They feel like faggots, man. They really do. The truth is use both, but get the Claude Max plan, the highest level, and just get the $20 OpenAI plan, right? And I use both. I have OpenAI analyze it, and I have Claude do the work. So, but for me, Claude does better work, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Many people will disagree, but that's just the way it is. All right. So, guys, we talked about the macro. We talked about BTC ETH Soul. We did a little bit of charting. We talked about some stocks and what to look forward for. As I said, keep an eye on BTC and how it moves. The levels are pretty straightforward. So if we close the 12-hour over here above the 200s, that's your sign that we could get the move to the 72, right? But otherwise, the 200 EMA tap might be a very nice short entry, all right? But keep in mind the 64K, getting the 4 hour above the 200, 64K is where it's at the moment. So if we get a 4 hour close above the 200s, that's your sign that more than likely we visit the top of the range, which is the 12-hour 200s. From there, if we reject and we don't close above, that's your short entry. Especially keep an eye on momentum, if it's showing weakness, bearish divergence, yada yada, and so forth. All right. It's very simple week ahead. So with that being said, I'm gonna close off the stream for you guys. So guys, I was having these thoughts the other day with well, I had these thoughts the other day, and I was talking to my brother about it. Um, and it's really more about like changing your relationship with resistance. It's more talking about obstacles, right? So whenever you hear the word obstacles, people automatically what do you call it, assume it's bad. But I look at it differently. Obstacles is, to me, is more as information, right? So um don't look at obstacles as something that's negative, and you automatically think something's going wrong, and you will automatically think maybe this isn't for me, maybe I should stop, maybe I chose the wrong path. But I've started looking at obstacles as the opposite, like the opposite way of that. Sometimes the obstacle that's in front of you is actually the answer you have been looking for. Like you want to get somewhere and life puts something directly in front of you that you currently don't know how to overcome. Okay, that's okay. By the way, that's okay. But that information is your next assignment. It's like it's so easy. Like that obstacle is your next assignment. Once you figure that out, you move on to the next step. Because think about any game you've ever played, right? You don't get to the next level by avoiding the boss. The boss is literally there because you need to beat it to move forward. And life works in a very similar way. Like I don't know if you guys play World of Warcraft or any of those type of games, but the obstacle is like your raid boss, right? So when you defeat the raid boss, you get rewarded with stronger items and you get to become a stronger person or stronger character and you get to move forward with the game. Life works in a very similar way, right? You want to build a successful business, but you're terrible at communicating. That's your obstacle. Learn how to communicate. You want to become a better trader, but you keep losing money because you can't control your emotions. That's your obstacle. You probably don't need another indicator. You probably don't need another software or whatever, or et cetera, bullshit. You just need emotional control. You want to become successful, but you can't stay consistent for more than 2 weeks. That's your obstacle. You need to build consistency. Instead of like saying, why does this keep happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to show me? So you have a different way of looking at life, right? I wish, people had this mindset where they could understand that obstacles are actually a good thing, right? That it's literally telling you the next level is right here. You just have to finish that one last fucking thing, right? Um, but again, uh, I'm not trying to say that every bad thing that happens is some magical sign from the universe. Sometimes bad shit just happens. Sometimes you do get unlucky. Sometimes something genuinely isn't worth pursuing anymore. You still need context and judgment when it comes to that type of thing. Um, so, again, don't look at obstacles as something that's negative, right? Start looking at it as this is information, right? This is information that you could actually use to improve yourself, right? Again, you guys have goals for yourself, but you always have, like, even for me, I have goals for myself, and I started understanding that these obstacles in front of me are the reason why I haven't achieved these goals, but these obstacles in front of me are the reason I am going to achieve these goals. So stop asking, why does this keep happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to show me? All right. Again, not every bad thing that happens means there's a sign. You still need context and judgment. But when the same obstacle keeps appearing between you and something you genuinely want, you need to start paying attention. Because maybe the answer isn't to run around it. Maybe the answer is to become the person that's capable of going through it. And that's what I mean when I talk about getting to the next level. The next level requires something from you that the current version of you does not have yet. It could be more patience, it could be more knowledge, it can be more discipline, more emotional control, more courage, like whatever it is, the obstacle exposes it of what you actually need. And every single person is different. This is why I say don't compare yourself, because the obstacles that person had to go through are going to be different from the obstacles that you need to go through. So instead of getting angry every time life becomes difficult, try looking at the problem and saying, okay, what do I need to learn from this? Because once you start thinking like that, obstacles stop feeling like walls and they start looking like instructions, right? And I went through this myself recently, right? So in my own work, I was preparing a big shipment and whatnot, like my brother was, and all that type of stuff, and we kept running into obstacles. We just bought a new machine, and the machine kept, like, we literally just used it for the first time. The first 2 weeks of using it, we just bought it, right? And I shit you not, the machine broke down like 3 times. 3 times. Halted our production, made us late on the customer, had to take losses on, like, we, that loss on the order that we had was simply because of the obstacle that we had in front of us, which was the machine. Now, we didn't think, oh my god, this is bad, blah blah blah, all that stuff after when it was done. What we did was, how do we prevent this obstacle from happening again? We improved the motor, we changed some parts, we improved the machine in general so it could handle what we are putting, what we are doing, what we are putting it through in an easier way. So instead of putting it at full throttle all the time, now, because the machine has improved, the motor has improved, and all that stuff, and the connection to the electricity and all that stuff improved, now what we were putting it through is light work, because we upgraded. Now we learned, we took in that information. This is how you approach obstacles. Even though we took an L, we took a loss on this order, we're optimistic about the future. And now the material that this machine was going to go through, what we decided is we're going to find a supplier that has this material already made, so we can buy maybe 30 to 50% of the order from him, like that material, and the other 30 to 50%, whatever it is, we buy it in raw form, and then we make it at the factory, right? It's very simple. As I said, guys, obstacles will come, but it's how you approach these obstacles that matters the most, right? Take it in a positive way, and always believe what's written for you will happen. This is, I fully have that belief that what's written for me will happen. It's just, you need time. Put in the effort, show up every day, keep putting in that effort, and whatever it is you want will fucking happen. I promise you that. Whatever fucking thing you want in life will fucking happen. It just, not throw away the bullshit. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. All right, just stay locked in, guys. And this is how I'm gonna end the stream today. Thank you guys again for joining. Let's have a great fucking week. Protect your capital is how I'm gonna end it. Protect your capital. We are almost done with the bear market, guys. We're almost through the finish line. I talked about obstacles. This is the obstacle right now. The bear market is the obstacle. We are almost done this obstacle. And then great fucking things are ahead for us. Let's finish this obstacle strong so the good things start happening. Protect your capital. Thank you for joining, guys. Take care, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.